Okay, I'm impressed. I've been sleeping on Dr. Stone. I won't do that again. Hey guys, Shinry here, back with another video. Hope you guys had a good weekend and looking forward to the 4th of July. Today's video is about Dr. Stone. This is my first time watching it, or actually I'm reading the manga, but I'm going to watch it as well. Some history with me, with manga. Back in the early days, I was watching like Beyblade, the original Yuyu Hakusho, Shaman King, Rave Master, some very old anime and manga. But I had never had any interest in Dr. Stone. I don't know why. I don't know when it came out. I know that the manga's finished since 2002. Because I just looked it up recently, just know if it was still going. I know the anime is still going, but the manga's done. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and hop into this manga. I've had some interest in it, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be for me. But I got to say, I'm impressed. This review today is going to be over the first 10 chapters of Dr. Stone, our opening, just like we did with Boruto. I'm either going to figure out the arcs and do it by arc, or I'll just talk about it every time I feel like something major happened in Dr. Stone. Kind of what I do with One Piece. Like, I don't do One Piece weekly reviews. I am caught up on One Piece, but like I don't talk about every week. There is a lot of stuff going on in One Piece, but again, this video is not about One Piece. So Dr. Stone, here are my thoughts. It's quite the phenomenon. And I mean, from the first page, it's like, on this day, the earth turned to stone. And I'm like, okay, you got my interest. And then we start out with this main character, Taiju, or he might even be, well, I don't see he's a side character because you can have multiple main characters, but like, he's not like Dr. Stone himself. He is like Dr. Stone's sidekick, his friend, his partner. And it starts off with him wanting to confess his love to this girl that he likes. I'm going to butcher these names. I'm going to tell you because I haven't seen the anime version yet. But her name is Yuzuhira or something like that. I'm just going to call her Yuzu. But he goes to want to confess his love to her. Well, first he's like building up the courage because he's been holding in this like crush he's had on her for like 5 years, I believe he said. And so he goes to Dr. Stone, or Senku, the Dr. Stone's real name, Senku. And Senku is like doing this experiment, and he's like, "Oh, I made this love potion. Here, take it." And Taiju like immediately dumps it. He's like, "No." He's like, "If I take this potion, then it won't be me that confesses my love to her. It'll be like I'm forced to do it without me doing it myself." So as he dumps it down the drain and he goes to leave, Dr. Stone, the other students in the class, this takes place in high school, the other students in the class like, "Dr. Stone, you actually made a love, or Senku, you actually made a love potion?" He's like, "No, that was actually gasoline." And they're like, "What?" He's like, "He would have died? So you're saying he would have died if he drank that?" He was like, "Yeah, but I'm 10 billion% sure that he wouldn't drink it in the first place, and he would have confessed his love to her about it." And that's another reoccurring joke about Senku / Dr. Stone. He always has like this crazy number, like 10 billion%. Like anytime he's for sure something to happen, he's like, "I'm 10 billion% sure." Not 100% sure, 10 billion. And I love that. I think that's really creative and unique for him. But anyways, so Taiju goes to confess his love to Yuzu. And he's building up to it. And then all of a sudden, like, before I get to that, there's like a little mini flashback of like him finding this bird made of stone, and he thinks like the bird is sick, so he rushes to like the hospital or veterinarian, and like the veterinary's closed because it's high school time, so he's like, "Oh, the veterinary's not open yet." And Yuzu's there. She shows up and she's like, "Oh, you dummy, of course they're not open yet." And she's like, "Why are you holding a bird that's obviously a statue?" And I thought like, okay, yeah, this is kind of cute and funny. But then she has a bird made of stone too. She had the same idea. And so they both call each other like big dummies. I thought it was really cute. Really, really cute way to show us that they had kind of the same connection, the similarity. But anyways, he asked her to meet her at this tree after school so he can confess his love to her. He doesn't tell her why, but she agrees. So in the middle of trying to confess his love to her, he's like building up to it, trying to tell her that he's loved her for all these years. When all of a sudden, for unknown reasons, the entire world turns to stone. And I love the way that the author displays this. Like, first, you see the classmates turn to stone. You see he tries to block her, Taiju, with his body. Like, I think he thought maybe it was like an explosion. And there's a reason why Taiju tries to block her. We're going to get into that in a second. But he tries to block her to save her from it. But he turns to stone, she turns to stone. And then you get various scenes around the world where like this plane with these pilots, they're turning to stone, and everybody on the plane turns to stone, and the plane crashes into the earth. You get this scene where a little girl is walking her dog. She turns to stone, and the dog's like pawing at her, trying to get her to come back to life. And just various scenes like that. It's just very, very well shown that like the whole world has turned to stone, like literally. Although, here's the confusing thing. So the birds turn to stone, but the dogs, the lions, the other animals didn't. Neither the plants didn't. So I understand, and fish obviously too, because I'm going to bring that up in a second. So one thing I have to criticize, I don't understand why birds, like if it was only affecting humans, that'd be one thing. But the fact that you shown us that birds were inflicted first, but not other animals, not lions, not tigers, not fish, not amphibians. I don't understand. I don't understand why birds would be inflicted in humans, but not other animals. Obviously, you have to have something to continue the story, and you had to introduce it with birds. But I'm just curious, like maybe is there a reason why birds were inflicted in humans, but not other animals? So then, we're still in Taiju's perspective. We're in Taiju's perspective for a while. Think of this like Shaman King, when we were first introduced to the little short human guy before he meets Yo. Like it's all from his perspective. Dr. Stone kind of opens up with Taiju's perspective. And so as Taiju is turned into stone, as well as the whole world, he's thinking like, I can't move my body, but I still have to protect her. I still have to tell her I love her. I'll stay awake for 100 years, or like I think he's like, I'll stay awake for days, weeks, months, 800 years if that's how long it takes. Well, he's petrified for 3,500 years. And what's even more crazy is at some point, they're conscious. We don't know for how long they're conscious, but they're conscious for like a while. We can assume maybe like months or days, but eventually you fall into what's called a cold sleep. Like your mind just kind of shuts down. It's probably exhausted. It's probably tired. It doesn't know what's going on. You can't move your limbs anyway, so you just kind of turn to stone. And then one day Taiju wakes up because this liquid is dropping onto his body. It's I think it was nitrocic acid. That words today. But that like kind of like melted the stone on his body, and he broke free. He was butt naked. I don't know what happened to their clothes. I guess their clothes deteriorated away when they were turned into stone. Doesn't matter. But after he wakes up, he realizes that Senku, Dr. Stone, is also awakened. And Dr. Stone's been awake for like, I think it was either 6 months or a year. I think it's in a year, but then at some point I read something about 6 months. But either way, Dr. Stone's been awake before everybody else, and he's slowly been, or Dr. Stone has Senku, he's slowly been building, not humanity, but like a small, like, civilization. But he can only do so much. Like, the way he explains it to Taiju is, like, I'm able to feed myself, I'm able to do experiments because Dr. Stone is like a genius. He's a high-level genius. He's been obsessed with science since he was a kid. I'm trying to go in order, but to best explain this, I'm going to be jumping around. So obviously it's not going to go chapter by chapter. But Dr. Stone, as a kid, his father knew from a young age that he was different. Like the first thing he says in elementary school, the teacher's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? He's like, I'm going to go to space. And the teacher's like, oh, that's a good dream to be an astronaut when you're an adult. And Dr. Stone's like, no, I'm going to go sooner than that. And so, he starts experimenting. He goes to his dad, tells him this, and his dad's like, you're not like other kids, and I know that. And I'm thinking, based off the way it was presented, the dad left him keys and money. Like, because I'm not saying the dad was dumb. Maybe the dad felt like he was inferior to his own son, but he left him with like this giant like room with like laboratory kind of thing, and just inspired his son. And his son first starts out with like the sunglass, and he's spying on an ant, and this old man walking by is like, oh, that's cute, you're doing a little experiment. And then he builds something else like more sophisticated. I'm trying to remember. And then the old man walks by. He's like, oh, cool, you're still experimenting. Then he builds this fucking machine that turns like, and this is still while he's a kid. He builds this machine that like freezes stuff. And then he's like, if I turn it this way, it'll freeze things. If I turn it that way, it like electrifies things. And this is where I think Taiju walks in. Like Taiju like is seeing Dr. Stone as a kid for the first time. And the old man's like, what the fuck? And so then, these bullies pick on Dr. Stone because obviously, like, the bullies, the jocks pick on the nerdy kid, and this is where Taiju first we see Taiju like protecting Dr. Stone. Taiju doesn't fight back. He's not a fighter, but he will protect things. He's kind of like Chad from Bleach, where like Ichigo told Chad, like, don't use your arms to fight people. Fight for me. Defend me. And I'll fight for you, or fight for me, I'll fight for you, Chad. And that's kind of what Taiju does. Taiju protects people. So that's, when you see that backstory with Taiju, you go back to remember, like, the first chapter, the first episode, I'm assuming, of Dr. Stone, when Taiju is trying to protect her, it's because Taiju is inherently that kid that wants to protect others with his body, with his strength. And so, back in present day, Taiju and Dr. Stone / Senku, Dr. Stone's like, now that you're awake, I can use your muscle. Like, we'll use my genius to like craft things, but we'll use your muscle to like help me grind rocks or lift things that I can't lift. Because Dr. Stone is like kind of weak, kind of skinny, and then Taiju is like this muscular guy, but he's not a fighter. And we're going to get into why he's not a fighter. We're going to get into that in a second. Well, we kind of did get into that, but I want to explain like some of the situations that have happened that have been unique to this anime particularly. And so, Dr. Stone and... Sorry, guys, 1 second. Dr. Stone and Taiju, they start crafting things. Like, they figure out, like, the way that they both broke out of stone. Because Dr. Stone awoken first from the acid. And then later, Taiju does. They figure out, like, hey, this acid is how... It'll erode the stone around our body so we can bring back civilization. We're gonna restart humanity, basically. Like, that's Dr. Stone's whole motivation, like to restart humanity, beginning with science. But before he does that, he wants to, like, build a society so when people do come back, they can protect them. Well, at some point, they realized that animals weren't petrified this whole time. Like lions, jaguars, tigers, things like that. They try to attack them, these lions, tigers. But at first, the lions and tigers are confused because you got to remember, it's been 3,500 years. These lions and tigers have grew up in a world without humans. So to them, they're like, we're like weird aliens. They're like, can I kill this thing? Like, they're trying to figure it out. And Dr. Stone's like, we have seconds to do something before they kill us. And like I said, because Taiju isn't a fighter, he can defend people, but he's not a fighter. Dr. Stone's like, we need someone that can take these things down. Well, bring in, I believe his name is Tsukasa. I might be saying that wrong. I'm going to just call him Tsukasa. I'm sorry if that's wrong. Correct me in the comments. But Tsukasa was known as the strongest, not strongest human, but like the strongest high schooler, like back in high school. He is what Taiju is as far as like being strong, but he also can fight. And so when these lions on attack, he takes down these lions with his bare fists. Now that is crazy. To think of a human that could just take down these animals with their bare hands, that's crazy. That tells you this guy's on another level. And so we have our trio now. We have Tsukasa, we have Taiju, and we have Dr. Stone / Senku. And even though Tsukasa is like this musclehead, this like strong guy, he's also smart. Not as smart as Dr. Stone, but he's like quick enough to like understand. Whereas like you get these funny moments with Taiju and Senku, where Senku will say something like really intelligent, like, "Oh, we need to build this, this, and this," and Taiju's like, "I don't understand any of that, but this is what you need, so I'll do it for you." Like at one point they make alcohol, and like Senku is like, "Oh, we'll make it out of this, this, and this, and this." And Senku's like, "I don't understand." And he's like, "Oh, that's what we have to do." And then he breaks it down like in a stupid way. He's like, "Oh, we just have to grind some grapes." And that's basically grapes and raisins. That's basically what's going to give you, not alcohol, it's going to give you wine. And so Senku's like popping these grapes one by one. And then all you see is Taiju like smashing them with his feet. And it's a really funny, cute dynamic between the two. But it shows their differences. And so it just shows you like how like simple but strong Taiju is, but how smart and ambitious Dr. Stone is as Senku. And so you have now Tsukasa, who understands all of that quicker and also has that power. And so when Dr. Stone explains to him, like, he's like, "Tell me in 2 seconds while he's fighting these animals how you brought me back to life." And Dr. Stone explains like, "Hey, there's a survival fluid or this acid that, poured on somebody's body, they'll corrode and come back to normal. and then also we need your help to take out these lions because they haven't seen humans in like 3,000 years. And so Tsukasa's like, okay, boom, 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 knocks them all out. And you think they're going to be like a team for a while, but no, there's immediately two different discrepancies. So while Dr. Stone has more of the survival liquid and he can bring back anybody he wants, Tsukasa's like, this is our chance to restart humanity. And Senku and Taiju are like, what are you talking about? He's like, we can bring back only the select people that we want to bring back. We don't have to bring back the whole world. We can bring back the people that we choose. Basically, like, Tsukasa's like a dictator. Like, he's like, I want people that think like me, that are useful, that can help build society, and they're not. And in this version, because they're high schoolers, he's like evil adults. And basically, what he declares evil adults like anybody that was like wrong to him as a kid. He immediately like starts crushing random stone people throughout the world or throughout Earth because he's like, you know, either they did something to him or like he just, like I said, he wants to make a condensed new world. He wants to create his own new world. Whereas Senku is the opposite. He wants to save everybody. He's like, regardless of if you're a good or bad person, you deserve to be saved for the sake of science or for the sake of the world or humanity, but he's doing it for science. And so you immediately have this rivalry between Tsukasa and Senku. And Taiju is in the middle, but Taiju can't fight because, like I said, Taiju's not a fighter, he just defends. So he tries to tell Senku, like, hey, he tries to tell Tsukasa, if you want to, like, beat up people and destroy things, just hit my body, I can take it. And Tsukasa's like, I don't see how that benefits me. Like, where's the trade in that? Like, I'm fighting. It's not that I want to take out my anger on you. Like, I don't need a punching bag. I'm already strong. I just want to control who is brought back. And Dr. Stone, I'm not going to let you just bring everybody back. This new world is going to be controlled by me. And so we get to see some of his power. Like, he punches Taiju once. And Taiju seems like he took it. But then he, like, passes out. And that's what I mean. But and it doesn't mean that Taiju's weak. Taiju's obviously strong. We know that. But he's not strong. He's not the strongest human. He can't take down a lion with his bare hands. And also, he doesn't fight yet. Anyway, I don't know if he fights later, but he didn't fight yet. And so, even though Tsukasa knows that there's a revival fluid, he doesn't know how to use it. He doesn't know how it's created. He doesn't know where it's come from. So Dr. Stone kind of tricks him. He's like, hey, you want to know where this revival fluid is to bring back the people that you want to bring back? Go to this cave. And while he runs off, Dr. Stone, they bring back the girl that Taiju was going to admit his love to, Yazahiru. Yuzu, I still going to call her Yuzu. They bring her back, and they're like, hey, we got to run. And so the three of them run, and they're like, all right, Tsukasa's basically going to come after us again. And we can't fight him. He is stronger than us. He's strong enough to kill us with one blow. So what we're going to do is we're going to accelerate the timeline because, like, you have to remember, everything's been reset. This is like if we were back in the Stone Age, back in the days of cavemen. Even though we lived in the future when the story first began, we're back in like the past because everybody's been turned to stone, and you have to build everything from scratch. So Dr. Stone's like, we're gonna build gunpowder. We're gonna kill this motherfucker. At least that's what you think, because that's how it's implied at first. But instead, so they travel throughout like 8,000 kilometers, something like that. And, you get like this fun little dynamic between the three and stuff like that. They get to this volcano. They build the gunpowder. Again, like, this is just I'm just going off my thoughts and stuff like that. But they build the gunpowder. And then it's revealed that Senku was never going to use the gunpowder to kill. He was not going to use the gunpowder to kill Tsukasa. He was going to use it to make a deal with him. Like, hey, we have this weapon that we can use against you. You can either listen to me now, help me build this civilization from scratch, or I'll use it against you. That's how it's presented. Senku doesn't want to kill him. He wants to make a deal. He wants to make a trade. Well, Tsukasa immediately after getting into this cave and realizing, like, hey, this is where the liquid is. But why would he's thinking, like, really fast, like, why would Dr. Stone lead me to where the liquid is? He's like, unless he's trying to stall, unless he's trying to get away from me, unless he's trying to build a weapon. And he immediately figures out he's trying to build gunpowder. How he drew that conclusion, I don't know. But I guess because, like I said, he's smart. He's not Dr. Stone smart, but he's smart enough to know, like, he knows he can't beat me in a fist fight. So he's going to need a weapon that could fight me. And obviously, the strongest man in the world can't do nothing against a bullet. So that's how he draws that conclusion, I guess. And so he goes after Dr. Stone. Well, while Dr. Stone, Taiju, and Yuzu had set off this gunpowder to test it, it had made a giant explosion and released like smoke signals into the air. And we now know that there's other people out there somewhere. There are other groups of humans because there's 3 more pillars of smoke that appear in the sky. And they're thinking like, either this is Tsukasa trying to draw us out, or it's other humans. And Yuzu and Taiju are like, Dr. Stone, what are you going to do? Do you want to risk lighting another gunpowder signal into the sky and letting other people know that we are here, but that also reveals our location to Tsukasa because he'll know that it's gunpowder. So they set it off, and Tsukasa shows up. Now, how Taiju got separated from the group, I can't remember. I think after the first initial gunpowder set off, he went to get more firewood or something like that. So he went to get some kind of wood, and while Yuzu and Dr. Stone stayed behind. So that gave Tsukasa time to show up and Taiju not to be there to shield them, block him with his body. So he takes Yuzu captive. Now, for a while now, I just thought Yuzu was this love interest. I thought she was going to be like, oh, it's just a love interest for Taiju to, express his feelings, her express his feelings back. No, this girl is with the shit. So as Tsukasa has her with this, Zord of Stone, I can't tell, it's an anime manga. I know they don't have, as far as I remember, they don't have weapons yet, but Tsukasa could have made this weapon out of anything, or he could have found this weapon, but he has this knife to her neck. And she does this Sakura moment, bitch. She does this Sakura moment where she, uses his knife to cut her hair. She's like, thanks, I needed to get rid of that long hair. In this new world, it would have been a pain in the ass to wash my hair. I was like, okay, Yuzu. Okay, that's a badass little moment. And then she holds his sword to her neck. She's like, listen, Dr. Stone, if he kills me, he has no reason. Oh, this is what I'm forgetting. So as the reason why he takes Yuzu hostage is because Tsukasa needs Dr. Stone to tell him how to make more of the revival liquid. He knows where it is, but he doesn't know, there's more to it than just having a revival fluid. You have to add, other things into it. And so Yuzu tells Dr. Stone, hey, he's going to kill us either way. But if he's going to kill us either way, but you don't have to tell him anything because he can't kill you. Well, he'll kill us both if you tell him how to use the revival fluid. But he still needs you alive since you're the only one that knows how to use it. So he can't build his perfect civilization without me. So she starts to put the knife into her neck, and then Dr. Stone just starts spewing it out because Dr. Stone puts on this facade that he only cares about science, but actually, it's not just science Dr. Stone cares about. He cares about his friends. He cares about Yuzu. He cares about Taiju. He might care about Yuzu through Taiju because Taiju's his best friend. Taiju's been the one protecting him. Like I said, Chad and Ichigo relationship. But, so he kind of bluffs to Tsukasa, oh, you can kill her. I don't care. I'll never tell you how to use the revival fluid. But then, like I said, Tsukasa calls us bluff, and so Yuzu's like, oh no, he'll never kill you, Dr. Stone, because he needs you alive, but he doesn't need me. So if I die, you don't have to tell him. So, but Dr. Stone tells him because he doesn't want Yuzu to die. So after Dr. Stone spills the beans to save her life, Tsukasa throws her away. He's like, I don't need you anymore. And so now it's back to this rivalry between Dr. Stone and Tsukasa. Taiju is still on his way. Taiju is still running to get there because Yuzu calls out to him. Orihime calling out to Ichigo, Ichigo! She's like, Taiju, come here fast! And Taiju's running as fast as he can. And so Tsukasa confronts Dr. Stone. He's like, look, I don't want to kill you. You've told me how to use a revival fluid. I have all I need to make my perfect civilization. All I need you to do is no longer care about saving all of humanity. Let me save who I want to save. Let me kill who I want to kill. I'll be the dictator of this new world, and I'll let you live. But if you choose to save humanity, You're going to bring back the good, the bad, the people that are going to figure out how to use gunpowder because of you again. Like, it's going to basically put us back in the world we're in now. Like, this is from Tsukasa's point of view, and this is kind of like my thing. If you see my what's that show called? Attack on Titan review. How I said Eren is right and wrong. This Tsukasa has that same thing as Eren. If we don't bring everybody back, we can control the world. No one will oppose us. Or even Sasuke when he talked about being a dictator to Naruto. This is that same mindset. We won't be in the world we're in now, like racism and people killing each other and poverty and the rich versus the poor. We can choose how the world is from now on. But Dr. Stone is like, listen, people are going to do what they want to do. But I'm a man of science. And science tells me I have to save everybody. And Tsukasa says, I knew that'd be your answer. Well, I have no choice but to kill you. Because we have opposing views. I'm going to be the dictator. If you stand in my way, Dr. Stone, who is the only person that can stand in my way, I have to kill you. And Dr. Stone's like, make it fast. Make it quick. And I know, obviously, because this is the first 10 chapters out of a 200-page manga, Dr. Stone's not dead here. I know that. He's probably got some trick up his sleeve. But how it's presented is that Taiju shows up the moment Tsukasa kills Dr. Stone. That's where I last left off. So, yeah, this is a totally different anime. This is something I have never read, never seen before. I know, like I said, like, the only thing I'm comparing that's like to is, like, Sasuke's dictatorship, Eren's dictatorship to Tsukasa's dictatorship. But, like, Sasuke's was different. Sasuke was going to be the kind of dictator where, like, I'm going to control the tailed beast, and no one's going to oppose me. And if you do want to oppose me, you have to fight me. You have to kill me. And I have not only Uchiha, I not only have the Sharingan, but I control the nine-tailed beast. You have no power to oppose me. Eren was the attack titan, as well as, like, you know, he had an army and whatever weird fucking thing he became in the end of the show. Eren was basically, he had the army of titans too. Eren was going to destroy the world. So Tsukasa is like that too. Tsukasa is the strongest human on Earth, and he can take out these stone people because they can't fight back, and he can revive who he wants to revive. He can have a harem of women if he wants to have a harem of women. That's what I mean. But Dr. Stone's like, I'm going to save everybody. So you had this first 10 chapters, this power play between the strongest man and the smartest man. And it played out perfectly. I cannot wait to see what else Dr. Stone has in store. Until then, we're going to leave the review off from here from now. Sorry, guys, words today. We're going to cut out the review here from now. Oh, my gosh, 30 minutes. That's crazy. I was not expecting to be this long, but I'm very happy that it was. I hope you guys have a great day. Can't wait to get back to you with more Dr. Stone in the coming week. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Bye. This video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series and the Chronicles of Wayne. Check out the link tree below for all my current published books. The Shinry series starts with Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home to save it from powerful enemies, shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. The Shinry series is your high fantasy action adventure. Think of it as an inspiration and a love letter to anime and manga everywhere. Or, if you prefer monsters and werewolves, check out the Love Be Damned series, The Chronicles of Wayne. Cotton candy, full moons, fabled lovers, a cursed virgin's bite. If you go where monsters dance, red will rain over your house. Love be damned. That sounds like a load of gibberish if you ask me, Barb. It's a cute little story about a boy who falls in love with the hottest guy at school who turns out to be a werewolf. And it gets into all kinds of shenanigans, especially against a battle with the dark wizard. Check me out, guys. Love you and thanks for subscribing.